Orb cake. This is not orb cake at all. This is a victorious legend. Welcome to the stream. Today on Genshin Impact, we have one main event and I guess two smaller events if we finish the main event decently quickly. But who knows how that will go. But before we do any of that, I want to introduce my team for today. And
Okay.
a new team member that we haven't really used yet, that I have been training up over the last few weeks. Today's team of Layla, Albedo, Dehya, and Noelle is a bit of a gimmick. Does it not contain orbs? It does contain orbs in one way, because all of these characters can turn themselves into an orb. This team is all about shields. Multiple characters with shields don't interact especially well in this game, because the health of shields don't really stack in any way. So if you have multiple shields at the same time, if you get attacked, all the shields will take damage at the same time. So for example, if you have one shield that has 100 maximum health and one shield that has 60 amount of health, if you get hit with a, let's say, attack that deals 40 damage, then the 60 one will still have 20 left and the 100 one will still have 60 left. Or if you get hit by an attack that does 60 damage, the 60 HP shield will break and the other one will still have a little bit left. So you can't really make yourself invincible by putting on all the shields at the same time, even though it looks cool. Instead, what having lots of shield provides for you is that you can essentially cheat the cooldowns. Because when one shield is about to run out, you can switch to the next character and essentially have 100% uptime on your shields by having multiple shield characters on the team. And then some characters' shields have special abilities associated to them, like Layla's shield, which adds these projectiles that home in on close by enemies and deal ice damage to them, for example. Also, I'm using 2 Geo and 2 ice characters, or cryo characters. Geo characters, if put together in a team, I think you can look at the resonances up here. 2 Geo characters give you Enduring Rock, which increases shield strength by 15%, so our shields won't break as easily. And also, additionally, characters protected by a shield will have the following special characteristics. Damage dealt increases by 15%, so we also get stronger, and dealing damage to enemies will decrease the Geo resistance. That's less important, although our main damage dealer, being Albedo, will be important that enemies take more Geo damage. Also, Shattering Ice increases the crit rate against enemies that are affected by cryo, which is very good with Layla's passive ice attacks, even if she is not on the field. Holy shield! Yes, so much shield. Layla is also interesting because her shield essentially has 100% uptime, as the cooldown for it is exactly as long as the shield itself stays on. Obviously, this is only true if it does not get broken by enemies before its cooldown runs out. But that's all about the team. Let's move on to the main event of the day. Which is Dehya's story quest. Mantichore chapter, Act 1. Also, I guess one last thing. With Deona and Noelle on the team, I also have 2 healers. Although they are not the best kind of healers, but considering how much shielding we have, we should not need all that much healing. I'm guessing. I have not tested this team at all yet, so I don't know how well it would work. Lionsblood. Shade upon red silk. One day, you and Paimon stop by the Grand Bazaar. It's very much possible that this team does not work at all. But we will find out if there's any combat to be had today.
Paimon's trying to remember. What else did we put on our shopping list?
Lions.
Oh, what a mouth-watering smell. Paimon would know the aroma of biryani anywhere. Let's go get some.
That wasn't on our list, was it? It's on our list now.
We can still add it to the list.
We just have added it to the list.
Well, if it isn't the Traveler and Paimon. Wasn't expecting to see you here.
I was expecting to see you. Although not... What was her name?
Hello there. Oh, it's been quite a while.
Dunya-san, right.
Ah, so you two are still hanging out together. Dehya, didn't you say last time that you were gonna head back to the desert?
I said I was going to resign from being her bodyguard, not that our friendship was over. We're still the best of friends. The Homayanis also still post jobs from time to time. Their pay is always generous, so me and the other mercs never pass them up.
I told Dehya to just stay at our place when she took one of those jobs a few days ago. My parents were delighted. They even said that it always felt like we were missing someone whenever Dehya wasn't around.
That sounds like something they would say, all right. They're always so welcoming. Anyway, the job is already taken care of, so I was gonna head back to the brigade as soon as I finished a little shopping. But the master kept insisting, and I ended up staying for another day.
Might stay long enough for another job to come up.
You can stay for as many days as you want, Dehya. Father hasn't even gotten around to treating you to his best dishes yet.
You know I'm not the kind of person to stay put in one place like that, my lady. Don't worry, though. There'll always be next time.
But she said they'll treat you to the best dishes. Paimon can't believe you can still refuse that.
But wait. Didn't you say last time that you would take me on a trip to the desert? Why don't you just take me with you today, when you leave? There are so many places I still haven't visited yet.
I'm sorry, my lady, but no can do. There's still a few things I need to take care of back at the brigade. Besides, the desert hasn't exactly been the most peaceful place lately.
I think it's been fine. I think I cleaned it out quite nicely.
Oh, come on. Not this again. That's also what you said last time and the time before that.
I know, I'm sorry. Just give me some more time, and I promise I'll plan the best trip ever for you.
All right, fine. To be perfectly honest, it's not that I wanted to go, it's more like... I feel like something is off about you lately. Ever since you first set foot on the estate a few days ago, you've been acting anxious and even paranoid. Have you been delaying our trip because you've run into some kind of trouble?
Nah, are you kidding? You're worrying too much.
Dear, you're not very convincing.
Would you swear on that? Friends shouldn't lie to each other, you know. I wouldn't pry any further if you're willing to swear on what you just said. But if something really is bothering you, then just tell me. You know I'll help you however I can.
Oh, looks like Dunyarzad was onto something.
No swearing.
You're too perceptive, my lady. Seems I can't hide anything from you. I just thought that nothing good could come out of telling you about the messy happenings of mercenaries. Knowing too much only leads to more trouble. Mercenary life is a dog-eat-dog world where Mora reigns supreme. Everything operates on a completely different set of rules.
That doesn't change anything about what I just said, though. We're still friends, and I can only support you if I understand what's bothering you.
Also, dear, you are definitely not a dog. I'm not sure if you are a cat, but you're definitely not a dog.
My lady, you're not gonna stop until you drag it out of me, are ya? All right, I'll share what I know. Let's go somewhere else first. This isn't exactly the best place for a discussion. Okay, let's talk here. Just try not to draw any extra attention. As you may already know, the Eremites have both a lot of mercenaries and a complex organizational structure. Many mercs are no different than me, just going around looking for jobs to earn some mora.
I feel like we are being watched.
My brigade is called the Blazing Beasts. We're not a large group, but every member is loyal and brave. However, not all Eremite brigades are like mine. Some are willing to cross all kinds of lines for the sake of Mora. The most notorious is a faction known as Deshret's Relics.
Deshret's Relics? Judging from the name, they must really look up to...
King Deshret. It's in the name.
Yep, you got it. I've heard that you've already crossed paths with Ain al-Akmar. They're one of the groups under the Relic's banner.
Oh, you mean the group that tried to sell us the Divine Knowledge Capsule? Yeah, they weren't friendly at all.
Deshret's Relics is composed of many smaller brigades like Ain al-Akmar. The Relic's headquarters issues orders to all brigades under his control. On any other day, I would want nothing to do with them. Unfortunately, though, the brigade that's stirring up trouble now is none other than Dehya al-Akmar.
Dakan?
I think it means beard or something. Believe me, it's a really stupid name. I found it insufferable for years.
Oh no, beards.
Anyway, the real issue is that Dehya al-Akmar is led by my father, Kusela.
Who has a beard?
Say what now?
I think I'm starting to understand your anxiety now. But what did they do?
I won't go into details, my lady, but they've been involved in a lot of violent incidents. We're talking hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yep, the scenes tend to be quite gruesome too. They strip the victims of all their valuables before murdering them.
Go do it the other way around.
Not only have they targeted merchant caravans and ordinary citizens, but other mercenary brigades as well.
That's beyond terrible. They won't even spare their own kind.
I don't know how Deshret's Relic sees it. All I do know is that Dehya al-Akmar has become more and more aggressive over the last few years. If I don't do something about them, then even my brigade or the people of Aru village could become their next target. I just wish I knew what's driven him to do this.
Yeah. How can your father do such terrible things?
I don't know. People change. He's always been pretty pathetic. But at least in the past, there were still a few lines that he wouldn't cross.
That's setting the bar pretty low.
I mean, if he was even remotely decent, then why would I have to leave the brigade and cut all ties with him? He was loud and foolish, with no real sense of purpose. Instead of doing anything useful, he spent most of his time drinking and chasing after women. Of course, the other brigade members were just like him. Their ruckus would go on night after night.
Sounds like a nightmare.
What about your mother? Did she ever step in to stop them?
Unfortunately, I never knew my mother.
I'm sorry, Dehya. I didn't know.
It's all right, my lady. That's pretty common in mercenary circles. Didn't I mention that my father was chasing after women? I was the result of one of those encounters with some random person. He told me that he wasn't sure who my mother was, and in any case, she never came to see me. He'd say, "You'll be fine as long as you remember to stick with Dad." But even then, he left most of the parenting to the brigade. The one thing I do remember is that he used to tell me stories. But the problem was that he had terrible taste. He only knew a few stories, and even those tended to be pretty stale. They were tales of desert warriors defeating dragons in the forest, or stories of mercenaries rescuing princesses from rebel armies.
Sounds like your typical fairy tales.
More or less, yeah. They were interesting maybe the first or second time around, but after about 20 repeats, they started to get a little dull. He seemed to think those stories were the best things ever, though. He was so into them that he'd call the whole brigade over and make them perform the whole thing as a play.
Hey, that sounds like fun. The first 20 times.
Even the toys he gave me would all be story props. I'd get helmets, shields, and toy swords. It was only much later when I realized that the shows were more for him than they ever were for me.
What an interesting guy.
But it doesn't sound like he had all bad intentions.
Yeah, I've always found him pretty childish, but that was something I could just shrug off. I had no reason to despise him. Until I grew up and learned the true face of Deshret's relics for myself. Looting, blackmail, violence, and fraud. They not only accepted such heinous acts, they would even openly boast about them. No one in the brigade was any kind of hero. Instead, my father and his cronies were more like the bad guys that needed to be taken down. Did they really think that as long as they didn't do any of that stuff right in front of me, I would never know?
I think I can understand your feelings. The difference between perception and reality must have hit hard.
Yeah, but don't worry, my lady. It's all water under the bridge to me now. I had a huge argument with my father and left that place behind for good. I'm not investigating them due to any bitter feelings I still have towards my father. I just want to protect those that are close to me.
You just want to find out why they suddenly started causing so much more trouble.
Yeah, I told the boys to gather as much information as they could. Most of the reports concern violent incidents, but there's also some talk of smuggling.
I see. But isn't this investigation incredibly dangerous?
It is, but every mercenary lives life on the edge. It's a lifestyle that I enjoy.
That may be true, but it'll be impossible for those who care about you not to worry.
Well, now you get why I didn't want to share any of this with you.
What should we do? They both have valid concerns.
I'll go back to the desert with Dehya.
Huh? But there's no need for you to get caught up in this mess, too.
Oh, I get caught up in every mess. Don't worry.
Well, she's super tough, so if she went into the desert with you, then Paimon bets the problem will be solved in no time.
I'm inclined to agree. I'd feel a lot more at ease if you took her along to help.
You can count on me.
I'll wait for news from you in the city until then. Please, stay safe.
I'm honored that you care so much for me, my lady. All right, then let's get moving. Our first stop will be Caravan Rebot, where we can catch up a bit with my fellow mercs.
Are you really a lion there?
Please be careful. I'll stay in the city and wait for news from you. Just don't do anything reckless, alright?
Not so sure about that one. Can't promise anything. Bye. Although with all my shields, how reckless can I even get? The answer is as reckless as I want to be. Because surely this will not backfire.
Okay.
The orb is safe. For now.
Hey, Dehya, you're back. Are these two friends of yours?
It's a pleasure to meet you. I trust Dehya with my life.
Oh, so you've already become like one of us then? Well, that's good to know. Anyway, since we've got a newcomer, let me fill you in on what the Khan al-Akhmar's been up to lately. They've become extremely aggressive. Apparently, even their own now have become acceptable targets. They even attack other relics brigades, just the same as any other mercenary brigade.
Even the most ferocious beasts still protect their own. And it sounds like they've thrown that straight to the wind.
That's right. Once they've collected enough loot off the other mercenaries, they sell it off to a different brigade, or turn to merchants on the black market. A portion of their profits is immediately exchanged for more food and weaponry to be used in their next violent operation.
That's terrible!
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder why they're so desperate for Mora. A few days ago, a shaman and I trailed them for a while, and even disguised ourselves as merchants to conduct trade with them. We were able to learn a few things from the exchange. Rather than saying they're out to plunder and hoard Mora, it'd probably be more accurate to say that they're experiencing an internal power struggle.
Wait, a power struggle?
You heard me right. The vast majority of their victims are mercenaries from the other brigades of Deshret's relics. If their only goal was Mora, they could have gone after anybody. The targeted nature of their attacks points to a power struggle between the different brigades within the relics. That's the only plausible explanation we have. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find out anything more specific. It seems they're also trying to keep things under wraps. Oh, one last thing we discovered was that over the past few years, as the Khan al-Akhmar became more and more active, Deshret's relics as a whole became a lot weaker.
They were able to cause so much damage. That somehow makes things even more confusing.
It sounds mighty strange to me too. Harun, you can leave the rest of the investigation to us. Gotta say though, I didn't expect you to go on a whole undercover mission during the few days I was gone. Sounds like you were really putting your necks on the line, no?
Nah, it was nothing. We're just as concerned about the situation as you are. The Khan al-Akhmar is your father's crew after all.
What he said. Besides, Dehya, haven't you done more dangerous things than all of us combined? What we did is nothing compared to your experiences.
Yeah. And while they went to talk with Khan al-Akhmar, I took a look at the last camp they attacked. Any survivors of the attack were already long gone. There was nothing of value left in the camp.
Ah, Hisham and Khalaf. You're here too.
We rushed over as soon as we saw you come into Caravan Rebot. Although this new friend of yours looks a little green behind the ears, I'm sensing a special vibe from her.
I sure am special.
Now that we know you'll have a capable partner with you, we can also rest easy.
Hey, what about Paimon? Feel anything special?
Oh, you're also planning to tag along with them?
Of course! Paimon is the traveler's most important guide. Wherever she goes, Paimon will follow.
99% of the time.
Oh, in that case, then you'd better take care of her too, Dehya.
Don't underestimate Paimon!
Don't worry about her. She may look tiny and helpless, but she's been through just as many battles as the traveler here. Even if she had only survived on sheer luck, then that alone would still make her quite formidable.
I had no idea. I guess I shouldn't judge by appearances.
Oh no, that person has a beard. Surely they're evil.
Oh, one other thing, Dehya. When you're free, why don't you update the deputy about your upcoming schedule? We held another recruitment event a few days ago, but everyone only came to see the Flame Main. You weren't around at the time, so people were pretty disappointed to only find our crew of rough, unkempt guys.
Rough, unbearded guys.
The deputy put a lot of effort into the event, but it was basically for nothing. Only a few people chose to stay, and that really got to him.
Sorry to hear that. I'll be sure to bring him some great liquor next time. I left in a hurry and I couldn't make it back in time for the event.
Gotta admit, I can understand their disappointment though. You're our brigade's main selling point after all. Now if only the deputy could figure out a way to bring a few more smoking hot members into our ranks.
Keep dreaming. Remember the last time I invited a couple gals into the brigade? You all just froze up with your mouths gaping like a bunch of scarecrows. The awkward silence and weird expressions left quite the impression on them. They were originally interested in joining us, but after that, they both told me they were too uncomfortable to stick around.
Hey, didn't we agree to never bring that up again?
Huh? Wait, are you serious? Why have I never heard about this?
I don't think you were part of the brigade yet.
Are you kidding me? I missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment like that and you weren't even gonna tell me?
All right. We can tell you about it later. Now's not the time.
Hey, don't you try to change the subject. You and Hisham get your butts over here and tell me everything right now.
Are they always like this?
I've decided maybe we should not help.
More or less. There aren't many rules or graces when it comes to mercenaries. We're used to just speaking our minds. If someone starts getting under your skin, you just yell right back at them. And if that doesn't put an end to it, then you just challenge them to a fight. But we also don't tend to take many things too seriously. Being direct and getting it all out of your system as soon as things come up is better than keeping everything bottled up, never talking about it.
There are sure non-serious things happening in the background. Will he come back? I think he's gone.
That's also why I never spare their feelings when I talk to them. If I want to laugh, I'll laugh. If I'm angry, then I'll unload on them. It's hard to stop once you get used to it. Though, I can never do that when I'm with the Homayanis. Hey, knuckleheads! Can you at least tell me the rest of the intel before you go back to your bickering?
Yeah, you hear her, Holof? Told you we gotta focus on the investigation first. I drew up a map. Right here is the spot. There you'll find the merchant caravan responsible for getting rid of Dehya al-Akhmar's looted goods. All you gotta do is wait and ambush them in the evening. They'll have no idea what hit them.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Be sure to pass my regards to everyone else in the brigade as well.
Will do. You stay safe, Dehya.
Watch over the trade route and wait for your moment.
Travelers and visitors, don't miss out.
What a ways that away. In the Dark Valley. Combat, you say? Surely that will not be in the cards today.
This should be the place. Let's find a spot to hide and bide our time. It's gonna come down to a fight one way or another, so let's all be careful.
No need to worry. She knows her way around a fight.
I'm not worried about that. What I meant is that we probably shouldn't go too hard on the enemy. After all, we still need to get information out of them.
Oh my, plot time things.
Ah, here they come. You ready? Let's not give them a chance to react and end this quickly.
Are we gonna get to play as Dehya? Or not yet? Dehya is a great sword user.
This should be the place. Let's find a spot to hide and bide our time.
I left.
It's gonna come down to a fight one way or another.
No need to worry.
Time. Time is a magical concept. And space is also a magical concept. I should not leave the
Here they
space.
come. You ready?
Did
Let's
not think
give
it
them a
was
chance.
this small of an area. I didn't want to attack towards them, because I didn't want to trigger them. But okay. Dehya's elemental skill creates a field that, at an interval, attacks enemies with fire. It's not a very quick interval though, and it's also a field that takes a while to recharge.
Take that! No more tricks up your sleeve!
Oh, maybe the flames only hit if I actually hit enemies, not just while they are standing in the field. That makes sense. Also, while the field is up, Dehya can use a jump attack to replace the shield and damage enemies.
No more tricks up your sleeve! I'll be back.
He'll be back. Replacing the shield at a different position will not recharge its duration, so you try to put the re-put the field right before it disappears. It will just immediately disappear at the new position. Also, Dehya does not really like using her sword all that much, so she will just put it away and start punching people after a bit. Which is a bit silly considering how much she talked about her new fancy sword in the main story.
You're the Flame Mane.
And I didn't even get to use her ultimate because it charges that slowly. Oh well.
Good. That saves me an introduction. All right, time for a little talk. Are you buddies with Dakana Lakmar now? Tell me, what are they after?
You know the code of being a mercenary just like everyone else. The first rule is to never divulge key information about our employer. What makes you think I'd talk?
That might have worked on an amateur, but I know you're just looking to protect your reputation. Think about it, though. What's your reputation worth if you won't have the other tools you need to succeed in this line of work? Tools like, I don't know, your limbs or eyes? You've got 5 seconds. You might want to think twice about how much your employer's information is worth to you.
Whoa!
It's alright, Paimon. He knows what she's doing. I think.
I'm not joking around. We can do this the easy way or the painful way. 2 seconds!
I'll save you the trouble.
I'm taking my limbs off myself.
Huh?
I'm
Are
just
you
gonna die.
crazy? He tried to bite off his own tongue. Quick, search the area for any first aid supplies. I definitely didn't expect him to go that far. Thankfully, the wound wasn't too deep, and he just passed out from the pain.
But why would he be so extreme?
I just wanted to test his mettle. You can get a lot of mercenaries to talk just by threatening them. I didn't expect him to be willing to go through so much pain just to deny us some intel.
Well, he's out cold for now. We could wait for him to wake up, but maybe it's not a good idea to interrogate him any further. What should we do?
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be a waste of time to interrogate him again after that. He might just hurt himself again if we start asking. There are lots of goods around here. Let's search the area. Maybe we'll be able to find something. I'm really sorry.
Are you sorry though? Satire is not gravely injured and will probably wake up soon. It should be okay to leave him here for a little while. Box. There's some weapons in the boxes, as well as a bunch of medicine and bandages. It seems like Dakan al-Akma is really up to no good. There are a lot of daily necessities like food and water in the boxes. It doesn't seem like there's anything noteworthy.
We found a piece of paper with a bunch of names on it. Maybe it's a record of something.
Let me take a look. If this really is a merchant caravan, they should have a record of their transactions. Yep. I see an entry for Dakana Lakmar right here. Kusela, Idrisi, Bashar, and Takriti. All familiar names. Dakana Lakmar has been trading for a hefty supply of food, weapons, and medicine. It seems that in the past, they used to receive some canned knowledge as well. This caravan is just one link in their logistics chain. Once in the rainforest, the caravan will exchange the looted goods for Mora, and the funds will then be passed to a specific person. That person will then pack the caravan full of necessary goods, which will then be brought right back to Dakan al-Akmar. Wait, why is there no Mora value recorded for the final transaction?
No value?
Yeah, every transaction before the last one was marked with an exact amount of Mora, but the final one, where they paid for everything to be brought back to the desert, was simply marked as delivered.
Maybe the Mora amounts just happened to cancel each other out.
Perhaps. But they couldn't have known how much they would make off selling the loot. Do they not care about profit margins at all? Anyway, the next part's the records of the goods themselves. There are a lot of entries. Everything was probably sourced from the rainforest. Huh?
What's wrong?
Shazamon Homayani?
Homayani? You mean Dunyarzad's family? Could it just be another family with the same last name?
I'd be surprised to find someone with the exact same first and last name. Shazamon Homayani is Dunyarzad's father, and the head of the Homayani family.
And he makes really good food.
Just what the heck is going on here?
Calm down, dear. Let's analyze the situation first.
I'm sorry, you're right. I'll consider what we found and not jump to conclusions just yet. But what this piece of paper confirms is that the Homayani family has been providing goods to Dakan al-Akmar.
What if the Homayanis have been kept in the dark and don't know they've been trading with Dakan al-Akmar?
That's a possibility, but if that was the case, why is this caravan specifically named Shazamon as their person of contact? They could have just as easily bought goods such as food and medicine directly from Caravan Ribat or Port Ormos.
If Shazamon was actually aware of this, then perhaps he's been supplying the brigade's operations the entire time.
Yeah, funding violence and looting. The brigade gets the goods, and he is paid the proceeds from the sale of the loot.
Maybe both of your fathers are scumbags.
But why would he do something like this? It's not like the Homayanis are in need of money.
I honestly have no idea.
You have no idea. Get it?
I've been to their estate many times, and I've never noticed anything suspicious. The only potentially large expenditure I could think of would be the treatment costs for Dunyarzad's Elazar. Maybe they borrowed a lot of Mora in the past? But that's still just a speculation. I don't think the Master would stoop so low to make Mora.
I don't think Dunyarzad knows anything about this either.
You're probably right. I know my lady's personality, and she wouldn't deliberately keep something like this from us.
But what should we do now? All we found is just another mystery.
If we want to get to the bottom of this, we won't be able to turn back.
If you ask me, we already have no choice but to confront her about this. I'm not worried. It's too early to make a verdict yet. I still have faith in the Homayanis. Let's go find my lady again. We'll tell her everything and see if she's willing to lend us her support. If we're lucky, we can not only figure out the mystery of this paper, but also follow the trail of breadcrumbs to the people responsible at Dakan al-Akmar.
Dehya, are you sure this is the best decision? What if instead of getting the help we need, we just end up revealing everything we've discovered to the enemy?
I've considered that possibility. But even still, I want to tell her what we found. I think I owe her that much. True friendship is built on trust.
And then Dunyarzad becomes a boss fight.
She showed genuine concern for me when we first brought up the topic. I can't repay her kindness with doubt and suspicion. That's not how I deal with people.
You're right. Paimon wants to trust Dunyarzad too.
I hope we'll be of help to her.
Yeah. Let's pay another visit to Sumeru City.
Caravan accounts. Accounts obtained from your target caravan. The information on it mostly relates to Dakan al-Akma. Apart from the large amount of data and information on the movement of loot, the fact that Dunyarzad's father was named is quite concerning.
Why do I have to write so many papers? Why?
Why indeed?
We're back, my lady.
We had a bit of lag, but we are back.
Oh, you're back a lot sooner than I expected. You mustn't have run into any trouble then. Well, how did it go? What did you come up with?
We almost watched someone kill themselves.
Actually, we're still investigating. It's just that we've discovered something strange.
I see. The clues you found have led you back here, in the city?
Something like that. Yeah.
You all look a little dispirited. Whatever you found must not have been very encouraging after all. Why don't you discuss it with me? Maybe I'll be able to say something to cheer you up?
I hope you can.
It's okay, my lady. It's not so much about me being upset with my father or anything like that. How should I put this?
I'm upset with your father.
So something is wrong. Even the Traveler and Paimon have been uncharacteristically quiet.
No traveler is always quiet. I wonder.
On any other day, Paimon would have already waved to me with a smile and shouted, "Dunyarzad, we're back!" So tell me, what happened?
Well?
My lady, please prepare yourself for what we're going to tell you next. It concerns the Master.
The Master? You mean my father? Okay, I understand. Don't worry about me. I'll listen as attentively as I can. My father has been supplying goods to Dakan al-Akmar?
Yeah, it makes as little sense to us as it does to you. I've never doubted the Master's integrity, so I'm having a real hard time rationalizing how he could ever support an infamous brigade like them. Maybe he's not actually aware of the full story and just stumbled into the deal by accident.
That feels unlikely, though.
I can't help but agree with the Traveler.
Huh? You mean you feel the same way, Dunyarzad?
Thank you for sharing all this information with me. Since you've told me everything you know, I should also tell you about some doubts that I've been harboring for quite a while.
Well, at least you're willing to tell us things and not just biting your own tongue off.
In the past, I thought that my father hired a bodyguard for me so that I wouldn't run away and get lost. However, there are plenty of capable mercenaries in the Corps of 30. Why did my father go out of his way to hire Dehya?
About that. Well, the Homayanis really needed bodyguards, so they reached out to the Blazing Beasts. Later, the master told me that I was one of the best mercenaries he'd ever seen, and that I should stick around to become one of his bodyguards. He offered me a pile of mora, so I just signed on.
Well, but that didn't really answer my question. Just think about it. Why did my father specifically reach out to the Blazing Beasts?
Maybe the Core of 30 just didn't have anyone available, or maybe someone recommended us. I've never given it too much thought. I think I get what you're saying. You'd think none of this was a coincidence.
Precisely. At first glance, nothing seems strange or out of place. But there are many parts of the story that don't actually make any sense. If my father had always been in contact with the Khan al-Akmar, then it would make sense for him to bring Dehya into our house.
You mean the goal all along was to get Dehya to be your bodyguard?
No, that's too much of a stretch. I cut all ties with my father a long time ago. He has no control over my life anymore.
Too bad. Your whole life was controlled by him.
But that still doesn't rule out the possibility that your father has still been trying to influence your life without you knowing.
So, the Master was not likely an innocent victim in all of this?
That's what things are looking like at this point.
Sorry we put all this on you so suddenly, Dunyarzad.
It's okay, Paimon. I should actually be thanking you. Regardless of his reasons, if my father has truly been funding a violent group of mercenaries, then it's my duty to bring him back to reason.
But is that really the right thing to do? My father has committed many atrocities and deserves all the punishment that he has coming to him. I have zero sympathy for him. You may call me an ungrateful child, but my feelings will remain the same. However, the Homayani family has treated me with nothing but generosity and kindness. If we decide to investigate this further, we could end up implicating the entire Homayani family. I would be biting the hand that's fed me over all these years.
Dehya.
Maybe this kind of doubt is exactly why your father wanted you to work for them.
It's our idea. If anyone were to ask, you could always just say that I'm the one who instructed you to get to the bottom of this.
You don't have to do that, my lady. I'm not conflicted because I'm afraid of taking responsibility. Besides, you're the one we should all be worried about right now.
Hey, it's still too early to give up hope. What was the thing about friendship again?
True friendship is built on trust.
Right, yeah, trust! You said that yourself, Dehya. Besides, there's no point on getting all riled up before we've confirmed all the facts.
Your trust hasn't been misplaced, and he probably has many conflicting feelings as well.
Thank you, everyone. That makes a lot of sense. I guess I should always remember the trust that I've placed in people. In which case, my lady, could you ask the Master to come out and have a chat with us?
Sure thing. I also hope he'll be able to give us a logical explanation. Let's meet at the usual place then.
Usual place? Ah, right.
Yes, the usual place. In front of the tavern, I assume. Pretty sure that is the usual place. It's the most usual place I can think of in this city. Yeah, it sure is. Always comes back to this.
Thank you for coming, sir. Please allow me to introduce these two. This is the Traveler, and next to her is her travel companion, Paimon.
Ah, yes, my daughter has mentioned them from time to time. It's a privilege to finally meet them in person.
You have a beard. Aha.
But we may skip all the pleasantries for now. What is the important matter you wish to discuss with me today?
Well, we wanted to bring this transaction record to your attention. There's something on this record that we're all pretty curious about.
So that's what you found. Huh. Seems like I can't keep everything from you much longer.
If you wouldn't mind, we'd like an explanation.
Well, it's a long and difficult story. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. What I do know, though, Dehya, is that the truth will bring you no solace. If anything, it will likely cause you a great amount of anguish.
Wait, me?
Yes, I understand perfectly why you came to see me, and I am touched by your collective commitment to do the right thing. But knowledge always comes at a price, and sometimes, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Your father, Kusela, and I both believed that.
Yes, I'm your father as well. I was wondering if maybe they had the same mother or something.
Of course, you have the right to seek and learn the truth, but I must warn you. The facts of this matter may reduce everything you've built for yourself into sand, blowing in the wind. If you must proceed, then Kusela's heartfelt efforts will also fade into the wind like a fleeting mirage.
His heartfelt efforts? I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not sure I follow. I've made it this far in life without a single drop of my father's support. I have my own ideals and ways of looking at the world, as well as people and causes that I've chosen to cherish and fight for. None of these things have anything to do with him. I came here today to support you as the head of the Homayani family. No warning will change my stance on that.
I understand. Then let me tell you a little story. Our family once needed to take a trip to the desert when Dunyazad was just a baby. Along the way, we were attacked by bandits. They had superior numbers and quickly overpowered our bodyguards. When all seemed lost, a group of passerby Eremites lent us their support. Those Eremites were Kusela's brigade, Dehya al-Ahmar. Kusela's men told me that the attackers were Eremite mercenaries, just like themselves. I was shocked. Why would Dehya al-Ahmar go so far to save us and not spare the fellow Eremites? Kusela was grinning and walked over to play with baby Dunyazad. She was startled by his unfamiliar face and nearly started crying.
Startled by his beard, most likely.
Really? I never knew.
He said that he had no particular reason to help us. He just took pity on us because he had a daughter about the same age. We started talking about our children, and I sensed that he was a devoted father. To repay his kindness, I hired his brigade to help out at our estate for a time and offered everyone generous remuneration.
So, that's what happened.
It was many years before I saw him again. I almost didn't recognize him the next time he came knocking on my door. The man I knew to be strong and healthy had been reduced to a shell of himself. He couldn't even walk anymore without his cane.
He didn't even have a beard.
So, what happened to him? He was perfectly fine when I left the brigade.
I'm not too sure myself. The only thing that didn't change was his cheery disposition. He said there was absolutely nothing to worry about and that he had gotten into a fight. That was all. He then suddenly asked me if Dunyarzad, now that she had grown, would need a bodyguard of her own. At the time, Dunyarzad was going through a particularly severe bout of her Elazar. There was no need for her to have a bodyguard when she could barely leave the house. But he kept coming back to the topic. Come on, it never hurts to be safe. How do you know a bodyguard won't come in handy one day? I was completely lost at first, until he recommended the Blazing Beasts, and in particular, a mercenary named Dehya.
So he was the one who recommended Dehya to you.
Indeed. He didn't say it out loud, but it was clear that he saw Deshret's relics as an evil group who would eventually corrupt every member in their ranks. He was already beyond redemption, but he hoped that he would be able to detach his daughter from the vicious world of mercenary life. If Dehya could stay in my house and keep working as a bodyguard, then gradually her affinity for the desert would decrease, and she'd be able to leave her previous life behind.
And that's why you offered her such generous compensation?
Yes, but not just because of that. From the moment that he asked me for that favor, I also began to see Dehya as my own daughter.
Yes, I'm your father as well.
And that's also why I tried to persuade you to stay when you asked for permission to leave. I was willing to spend however much it took. Kusela saved my daughter and I all those years ago in the desert. I could never refuse him entrusting his daughter to me.
He was always like that, acting like he's oh so smart and self-righteous.
Kusela said that he'd reimburse me for a portion of Dehya's fees. I refused to take any mora from him, but he'd always send me funds anyway. Eventually, I just accepted them as a token of his gratitude. And that went on for a while until I received another letter from him a few years ago. The letter contained a request to help him buy food, weapons, medicine, and even explosive materials.
Dear, your father may be dead and have been impersonated.
Wait! Isn't that around the time that Dakan al-Ahmar started becoming more aggressive?
That's right. When I started to hear some nasty rumors, I became wary. I wanted to meet him face to face to discuss things. But by then, he was no longer receptive to my requests to talk. If I had to guess, it's probably because he doesn't want to put Dehya at risk.
But by that same token, he should have also stopped asking you for materials.
That thought occurred to me as well. I figured that he probably came to me for help because he had nobody else to turn to. After some deliberation, I decided to send him some food and medicine. I turned down all his requests for explosives and weaponry. I am aware that even such a reduced gesture of support could lead to others coming to harm, but I could not simply reject his plea for help. In the end, it probably was the wrong decision. I plugged my ears to the rumors and just chose a solution that made me feel least guilty about myself.
If you can, please tell me where he is now. None of the things he's doing right now make any sense if he's just trying to keep me from getting tangled up in his world. If all he wants to do is steer clear of me, then maybe he shouldn't have brought me into this world in the first place.
Oh no. Dehya, please don't feel that way.
I'm just angry because I can't wrap my head around any of his actions.
Maybe there's another way of looking at all of this. Can you try to believe in him just one more time?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think I can do it. But I guess you do have a point. We haven't uncovered the whole truth yet. We still need to figure out his exact actions and reasoning for these last few years.
I'll do my best to help. Of course, anything between the two of you would need to be resolved between you and him alone. I don't know Kusela's exact whereabouts. Outside of supplying his brigade with some goods, I tried my best to avoid getting involved any further with him. However, there's a man on the list named Jawed. He used to be a mercenary in the desert and is now a member of the Corps of 30. He's responsible for supplying weapons and liaising with the Dakan al-Akhmar's merchant caravan. I think he should know Kusela's whereabouts. I've heard that he likes to have a few drinks alone and enjoy the cool wind at night outside the tavern. Maybe you'll be able to find him there.
You mean right here?
Understood. Thank you, sir. Then I guess this is bye for now, unless...
I'll stay and be with my father here. To be honest, I'm still a little dazed and haven't finished processing everything quite yet. My father has indeed done something wrong, but if I think about it, I'm also not sure if there was a right way to handle this problem. I feel like our only course of action is to turn everything we know over to the Corps of 30 and let them render judgment.
Yes. I am prepared to accept whatever verdict they choose. It's time to face my mistakes.
Time to make it night. Guess we go for midnight then.
How did I do that?
Found him. He has
Makes me laugh every time.
a beard, I wanted to say, but then he became just a cup.
Huh? Who are you guys?
I know what you've been up to. Smuggling weapons to violent brigades in the desert while working for the Corps? Pretty bold, if you ask me.
Shh. Keep your voice down. How do you know all that? Come with me. We should take this elsewhere. I'll be happy to talk things over once we're somewhere private. This place should do. All right. Back to my question. How did you all know about me?
Don't worry about that for now. You know what kind of punishment you'll face once we report you to the Corps, I assume.
Wait. There's no need to jump the gun. Let's talk this out. What are your terms?
So what's in it for you anyway, Mora?
Well, I was a little tight on money at the time, and Kusela took good care of me in the past. I weighed it in my mind, and I couldn't find a reason to turn the opportunity down. I wouldn't only be helping my benefactor, but I could also make some quick Mora.
Let me tell you how it is. We're investigating Dakan al-Akhmar, and we're gonna put an end to their operations. If you provide some help for us, then we might just put in a good word later to reduce the terms of your punishment.
Hey, why don't we discuss this a little first? Listen, I made quite a bit of Mora from my last run. You just give me a number, and I'm sure we can...
You're currently not reducing your sentence.
Shut it. My patience is running out. You should know when a mercenary is after something other than money.
You might in fact be reducing your lifespan.
All right, sheesh. But you gotta promise you'll put in some nice words for me later. They're always on the move. Here's the spot they were at the last time I made my delivery to the desert. Feel free to go have a look. I'm just telling you though, it's not on me if they're not there anymore.
Sure. And then you can forget about any nice words from us.
Hey, come on. Now you're just being unreasonable.
Really? And how do I know you're not leading us straight into a trap? Don't forget, you're the one with no bargaining chips.
All right, I get it. Why don't you go take a look, and if they're not there anymore, I'll try to figure out something else for y'all.
Now that's more like it. Let's move. And as for you, try to stick around the city until we get back. You don't want us to call the folks from the Chore and have them drag you back to the city.
That's a lot of way. But huh? Sorry, distraction. I'm just curious. Who are you? Drusus. I'll mark you right here. If you do not mind. Mark you somewhere. Let's put that on the list of things we look at the end of this stream. Maybe. It's always weird just finding random quests somewhere. Especially if they are in places where I have been a lot. Because that means either the quest is new or I did something to trigger it suddenly.
I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Also, Layla is dying.
Seems like we're in luck. That should be their camp right up ahead. Let's go. We'll finally get to the bottom of this ourselves. I'm here to see Kusela. Tell him to get out here.
Hey.
Dehya, why are you here?
Maybe beating up these people will be enough to charge my ultimate.
Let's get it on.
Are you an obstruction? You might be. Did you not notice that I was beating up your friends? Well, you're gonna get beaten up.
You're dead meat! Haven't you all done enough?
Oh, so are you also here to stop us?
Stay out of this. It's got nothing to do with you.
Coming to be.
this ancient power.
Don't be scared.
Let's get it on! Ha! Cha! Kya! Ha! Ha! Ha!
She's so strong.
Yeah, I guess that one guy was smart not getting close. Too bad I found him anyway.
Enough fighting. We all know each other, and I don't want to take things too far. Just bring Kusela to me. There's no use hiding him anymore.
He is dead.
Did you understand a single word I just said? Or do I need to bash your skull in some more?
All right, everyone, let's all just calm down for a second. Dehya, the boss can't come out and see you anymore. He died a long time ago.
I knew it.
What?
Seems like you've been out of the loop for a while. Guess that's for the best, though. At least, that's what the old man wanted.
When did he die? What happened to him?
A few years ago, Kusela broke up Dakan al-Ahmar and went to the Deshret's Relics headquarters by himself.
So is that when you guys started acting up?
We would prefer to call it taking revenge. Every last person in Deshret's Relics must pay in blood for what they did.
So that's why they turned on each other. It was all motivated by revenge.
Let me start from the beginning. Dehya, do you know how the head of the Relics maintained order internally?
Overwhelming strength and unquestionable authority?
Those were a part of it, yes. But just those on their own weren't enough. They had another tool at their disposal. They called it a person's record. Regardless of whether they joined by their own will or were coerced, every person in Deshret's Relics were forced to leave a record of themselves at headquarters. Whether it be their deepest sin, some unforgivable act, or their most immoral exploit, the record served both as a symbol of loyalty and the perfect material for blackmail.
So you mean Kusela thought there was no escaping the records?
That's precisely it. Every one of us have a record. Me, Bashar, Tikriti, and all the boys who grew up with Dehya and ended up joining our ranks. But you, Dehya, you were never asked to provide a record, were you?
I never even knew this was a requirement.
You were probably the only person in all of Deshret's Relics who didn't know about it.
Ever since you were born, Boss had been trying to shield you from this organization's sinister rules. Not only that, but he also banned all of us from committing any nefarious acts. He said he'd take care of the dues we had to pay regularly to headquarters. But in the end, he was just an ordinary person. What could he do? He was forced to go to headquarters again and again to account for missed dues and incomplete records. He'd come up with all kinds of excuses and get beaten up as a result.
We all knew he was doing that for you. He wanted to get you out of this world, no matter what it took.
And that's why he became a shell of himself and couldn't walk without a cane.
Wait, but that doesn't make any sense. I didn't know about any of this, and I'd never seen him get injured or beaten.
Because you were too young at the time. How would you ever tell between wounds from a beating and wounds from battle? When you left home after that final argument with him, he seemed to age by a decade overnight. Even his hair went gray.
So, even the blazing beasts were...
Yep. It was all his doing. Had he not arranged them to come to you, you probably would have been reduced to a pulp before you ever left the desert.
A few years ago, Boss said he needed to make another trip to headquarters. He was already pretty weak then, and we all assumed he was going to get beaten again.
GG.
I suggested that he hand the role of leadership over to me, but he said there was no longer any need, since the Khan al-Ahmar would soon be no more. His words made no sense to me, but that night, we heard that a massive fire tore through headquarters and razed everyone's records to ash.
Everyone gained their freedom that night. Many members fled, not just from our ranks, but from the other brigades as well. But how could we leave with a clear conscience? All of us who knew exactly what had happened.
The boss can't have just died for nothing. Those heartless jerks at headquarters took him from us.
From that point on, the sole purpose of the Khan al-Ahmar became revenge. The big fire that boss started was quite a blow to headquarters' strength. It's given us the opportunity to launch our attack. Even though we're outnumbered, we vowed to see our revenge through to the very end.
But Deshret's relics haven't been the only victims of your revenge.
There were people from headquarters who changed their names and went into hiding. Some fled to other brigades, and others escaped to the rainforest. But we won't let any of them escape our wrath. They'll all pay for what they've done.
We've suffered plenty of losses as well. To keep going, we need an enormous amount of supplies, from food and medicine to weaponry and explosives. All we can do is exchange our loot from Mora, and then use that to get supplies. We forged Boss's handwriting and sent out many letters to his former friends. Thankfully, many people were willing to come to our aid. We were also able to attract many mercenaries who shared our goal. We've endured unspeakable pain to win many impossible battles. Deshret's relics have become weaker and weaker, and now we finally have an opportunity to directly strike their headquarters.
Paimon doesn't know what to say anymore.
Responding to violence with more violence will only cause more violence. Do you have any idea the amount of damage you've done?
We do know right from wrong, but we were sinners from the very beginning. We do not deserve the freedom that the boss won for us with his life. Boss always loved his old-fashioned hero stories. Those tales about sacrificing yourself to save the world. We used to always laugh at him for it, but in the end, he really went and lived those stories out himself. As for me, I never considered myself a hero. We're all the lowest of the low. We have no right to even imagine such an existence. But maybe those hero stories he liked foreshadowed everything that was to come. The spirit of the hero touched all those he had saved, and more people joined his cause. Maybe we were all just acting along with the play in the beginning. But as we acted the parts and recited the lines, we were drawn in. And now, we want to see the story through to the end. I'm sorry, Dehya. I know you always found us insufferable ever since you were young. Just think of this as a madman ranting.
I'll go with you.
Huh? Dehya? You wanna go with them?
I grew up with these guys, and I know they're not bad people. It's just that some situations get so bad that it's difficult to tell good from evil. All I know is that Deshret's relics must be destroyed. Furthermore, I want to go see the place for myself. I want to know if my father is still there. I know you don't want to get involved in this, so there's no need for you to tag along. I can do this on my own.
I'm on your side, Dehya. This quest is not over yet.
Yeah. Paimon feels like we'd only regret it if we don't see this through to the end.
Thank you. We'll be a lot stronger together with you.
I bet Boss would lose his mind if he ever knew you'd join us at the very last moment like this.
Considering all the losses and injuries we sustained, we can't afford to turn down someone as powerful as you.
He can think whatever he wants. But the fact is, I owe him this much.
Are you?
I guess it all comes down to this.
What a bummer. I just had to get injured now, right before the final fight.
Feel that's our fault.
Be sure to punch one of them for me, huh?
Oh, sure. Don't want to talk, eh? Oh, how enigmatic. Well, it's quite a ways away. Still decently a ways away, but thankfully there's some helpful winds. And other helpful things. More helpful winds. I wonder if all of this has been placed here specifically so that I can get there easily right now. The camera pans sure make it seem that way.
Is this the entrance? We sure didn't run into much trouble on the way here.
Should be. I don't think they have enough manpower left to post guards and defend their perimeters.
Is this a domain? It might very well be. Bygone glory is past. Led by Kuzaila's old comrades, you arrive at the final hideout of Deshret's relics. Fierce resistance is to be expected within, but it is time to call it curtains for vengeance, whether old or new. You want me to bring Dendro, Electro, and Fire, and I will not. Although you will give me Fire. Loading. Fire. Among other things. Soon, I hope.
Wow. Paimon didn't expect it to look like this on the inside.
Did load echo.
They should all be holed up in here. Don't know how many people they've got left, though.
Who cares? We'll round up all of them.
Still, we should be careful. Even if they've only got one shot left, it could still take us out.
I've fought through many situations like this before.
Yeah, we'll know what they're really capable of once we've landed some hits on them. Deshret's relics may have been a force to be reckoned with before, but their name means nothing now.
Yeah, they don't stand a chance with you here. I'll take the lead. I've been here once before.
Well, we have a huge party to help us out. I'm assuming that's a death pit. Unless the party left us, in which case... No, they are doing something over here.
My guiding stars.
First force.
Think you can bully me? Can't handle your steady as stone. As a good knight should. Stars, shine for me.
Oh, that's a friend.
Come into being. Witness my great undertaking.
Where do you think you're going?
Buckle up.
Correct. New punting.
Look at you, Boozle. Not now. Don't be scared.
Feel this ancient power. Take my...
You asked for it.
I'll take my knee.
The night is cold.
I'll be back. No more tricks up
Oh,
your
turn
sleeve.
to command. My guiding stars.
No more tricks up your sleeve.
I'm great at aiming.
Can't handle your drink. Huh. Not now.
First forth, moment of birth. You won this one.
I'm getting sick of this.
Let's get it on!
You're dead meat. Let go away.
This way, follow me. We're almost there.
Chore!
Wait! They went charging ahead without checking for any traps!
And then they died. Goodbye.
Hey, you guys okay?
It seems like we just got trapped in here. Don't think we triggered anything else.
Watch out, the enemy's coming from ahead.
Well, now that things have come to this, seems we'll have to fight our way through.
Don't worry about us. We knew something like this could happen. Go and take a look around. There could still be another way through.
If you knew this could happen, why did you not be more careful?
Let's go! We can't let the boss down!
Let's check if there's another way! The sooner we can make it through to help them, the better!
I see puzzles that way.
Let's see. I think I see a way through over there, but it's being blocked by something. Let's try our luck with that mechanism.
Okay, let's go!
Oh my, puzzle.
Come into being. Ha!
Buckle up! Ha! Hi! Ah! Ha! Ah! Cha! Ah! Another mechanism like the one before, but this one's being blocked off in the middle.
We just need to adjust it a little.
Well, that essentially solved itself.
Stars, shine for me. My guiding stars. I'm a rock.
Live! Feel this ancient power.
Gloves off!
Punch robots. That always works. More robots to punch.
Cole, mine's a command.
Burst forth.
Leave it all to me, as a dutiful maid would.
Live! Witness my great undertaking.
The night is cold. Look at you, Boozehound, shaken and stirred.
Just looking a bit at the murals. Griffins, I guess. Yeah, it does not look like Mantichores. Although the Mantichore symbol on Dehya's quest also almost looks like a griffin. It doesn't have the wings, I guess. This is almost a puzzle. Almost. More griffins. And something that looks very much like an arena.
I wasn't expecting anyone to make it through from the other side. But as a desert dweller, I suppose we should be used to our folks defying all expectations.
Don't waste your breath. You have nowhere to run.
Run? Had I wanted to run, I would have fled 1,000 times already. I witnessed the golden age of Deshret's relics. Even if I could leave this place behind, all that awaits me now are endless days of humiliation and ruin.
Beard.
Even now, my brothers and I still believe in one thing. The greatest should never live to remember their fall.
So you want to go out in a blaze of glory?
Let us draw our weapons! We will show them the true power King Deshret bestowed upon his followers. They are but two, while we hold within ourselves the entirety of the relic's glory.
I hold within myself at least 4 more people.
Wave 1, Chore! Eliminate them!
The night is cold.
Come into being. Feel this ancient power.
Buckle up.
Where do you think you're going?
So Dehya's field and Albedo's field work very similarly.
Forth.
Except that Albedo's is much better at staying up.
You're going.
But both of them make elements explode on the enemies when they're hit while standing in the field.
Let's get it on!
So if they stun in both, you can trigger both.
Baby, don't think that you've won. We're just getting started.
Come into being. Moments of birth.
Gloves off! Look alive! Hey.
Live. Witness my great undertaking.
My guiding stars. Stars, shine for me.
How? King Deshret will not abandon any one of his followers.
Not now. Oh, mine's a command.
Coming to be.
Let's get it on! You asked for it.
Will. Brothers! This is where we prove our faith.
You all just wanna die?
None of us plan to leave this place alive! Lord of Sand, your sacrifice is ready.
Not now.
Oh no, Croco.
Mine's a command.
Gloves off. Spread your wings.
Time to punch Croco. Until there is no more Croco.
We'll meet again. The commander has finally fallen.
The Crocomander.
But they're still coming at us! This place is like a gladiator's ring. They just keep coming no matter how many we beat!
Yes, keep fighting! There's no need to fear, and no need to back down! This is our last stand!
When the next wave comes, try to draw away their attacks. I'm going to see if I can take out that high platform.
Here comes the cavalry. That was the cavalry.
Get out of my way!
Come and face me, Michel! Ugh, so they've broken through the front as well.
Apologies, Lord Michal. They fight like absolute madmen. No matter how much we throw at them, they just keep coming for more.
So, it would seem like this is the end.
Time to pay for everything you've done, Michel.
You think I would give you that opportunity? I will be buried in the sand alongside all the rest of our fading glory.
Hey, wait!
We were too late.
No, not the tongue again.
It's over. There's no more need to fight. But if you're still going to cling on to your so-called mercenary's pride, then I'll give you all a good beating as well.
That was a good sound you made, Mr. Hesitant Mercenary.
Hey, Dehya! I found the mechanism. I'll get you all back up here right away.
Let's go.
Nobody left to talk to us, I guess.
Who are you filthy rats? And why are you always pestering us?
You call yourself a member of the infamous Deshret's relics, and you still can't even tell who's made it all the way to your headquarters?
Who knows what intent a bunch of rats may have? We try to catch a couple, and you all just show up on the other side instead.
How are we supposed to figure out what you're after?
Hey, have you ever heard of a man by the name of Kusela?
Why would I know? It's not like I'm in charge or anything.
This is your last chance to talk.
Hey, I said I don't know anything. I'm just an average member here. I'm telling the truth. If you're here to find someone, why don't you look through the records yourselves? Who can remember every name and face with so many people coming in and out every day?
The irony. His life became a light for so many, yet to others, it wasn't even worth remembering. Where's the records room? Answer me!
It's right over there. All the files are in there. You can go through them as much as you want. It's not like any of them still matter anyway.
I mean the old records room.
The old records room? You mean the one that got burned down? Kusela. Ah, yeah, I remember him now. The guy who could hardly walk.
Watch your mouth. That's our boss you're talking about.
He was definitely faking it. We all let our guard down as soon as we saw him come hobbling in. But in the short time it supposedly took him to take a dump, he'd already gotten away and started a fire in the records room. He couldn't have possibly outrun us if he wasn't a fraud. And after that, Deshret's relics fell into complete disarray.
Stop wasting our time. Every one of us here is perfectly aware of what he had done. Tell me, where is the old records room?
It's just over there. Go see it for yourself if it means that much to you. There's nothing left in there but ashes. No human could ever survive that kind of inferno.
Bashar, Tikriti, let's go. We'll leave the others here to guard these guys. Spare them no mercy if they try anything.
I've already told you everything I know. Can't you just leave me alone?
Oh no, invisible walls. Oh no, visible walls. How did you die all the way over here? Oh, this is where the other guys came in, isn't it? Maybe? I don't know.
So, this was his final destination. How did he do it? Getting past all the guards with a limp and sneaking in here to start a fire?
Yeah, they already told you he was faking it.
If he was nimble enough to do that, then he must have been able to get out of here after starting the fire, right?
Maybe he didn't want to.
Dehya.
I'm sorry. I know it's just wishful thinking. Let's look around. Maybe we can find something that's been left behind.
Is this a cane? It must be the one that Dehya's father used.
Kusela.
Thanks for everything, boss.
We're fortunate to somehow find that cane after that fire.
Let's split up and look around some more. What if something else has been left behind?
But what else could survive a fire like that?
Huh? So...
Wait! Isn't that the toy sword you played with as a child?
The dragon is no more, for Princess Dehya has slain it. Its head now hangs above the city gates. Her bravery has brought eternal peace and prosperity to us all. Dehya, come on. This is the most important line.
You can do it.
But Dehya, you defeated the dragon. Everyone's waiting for your speech. Still too shy, huh? All right, I'll do it. I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more.
I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more, Dad.
The whole story was shared with the Core 30, which finally joined the investigation in the name of restoring order. The members of Deshret's relics were brought to justice, and the members of Dakan al-Akmar turned themselves in to the authorities. The cane that once belonged to Kusala was given to Dehya as part of her inheritance. Dehya was completely silent on the way back to Sumeru City. I'm glad they gave me more than plenty of time to read that.
What's this?
We got you some snacks and drinks, all on Paimon's tab. Don't think Paimon has money.
Don't you remember? You asked Paimon what she would do if she were to wake up tomorrow with loads of money. And Paimon said that she would get boatloads of tasty snacks. You looked super confused at the time, but said it was an adorable thing to say. These opportunities don't come by often. So today, Paimon's gonna treat you to a special crash course on Paimon's life philosophy.
She rarely spends her allowance on other people.
Hey, come on! Paimon's not that stingy.
Just a little stingy.
Anyway, the point is that you should eat to your heart's content. You'll feel better for sure once you've gotten something in your tummy.
Paimon, yes.
Junior Zad will also be here shortly. She's already heard that we're back.
Aw, thanks you two. Honestly, this is very unlike me. I just had a lot on my mind on our way back, so I didn't know what to say. My chest was filled with all kinds of intense emotions. They just shook me even more than all the feelings we've shared during our previous adventures. But when everything came to an end, those emotions also vanished without a trace, and I was left feeling more empty than ever before. It was as if I'd lost the thing that was most important to me.
Everything just happened so fast.
Yeah, you're right. To many mercenaries, Mora is the most important thing in the world. But perhaps to us, it's the most worthless thing of all. Idrisi and the others all used to say that they would quit if there was no Mora to be had. But when it came to avenging my father, there was no Mora to be made anywhere. My reality shattered when I found out that the father who always told me hero stories was in fact a bad guy. But look at me now. Am I any different? Despite all my promises about never forgiving him and never trying to understand him, I still went to such lengths to find out the truth, and nearly even shed tears for his sake.
But only nearly.
We're hypocrites, all of us.
You should never question your true feelings, though.
Yeah, you're right. It's just a pity that we often only recognize our true feelings after it's already too late.
You're back! Are all of you alright?
Ah, there she is.
Yeah. Many people from the Core of 30 came over, and I just wrapped up everything with my dad. All I can do now is wait for their verdict. Huh? Dehya, you're looking quite down again.
Paimon will explain. A lot happened while we were gone.
I'm sorry. I really should have controlled my emotions better. I just...
It's all right, my lady. You were hurt by all of this as well. Truth be told, I'm starting to feel a little guilty watching you cry like this.
But Dehya, your pain must be even worse. You shouldn't need to comfort me.
Hey, don't worry about me. If anything, this whole thing has finally shown me the difference between illusion and reality. My father probably thought that people could settle into new lives as long as they moved to a new environment. That thought has even crossed my mind a few times. It's like saying, what's wrong with adapting to a new life? However, there was always something deep within my mind that refused to accept it. This impulse brought me great turmoil, and even made me feel ashamed for turning my back on your father's kindness. But now that I consider it again, it all makes sense. The desert sands are a part of who I am, and I will never be able to lead a peaceful existence.
I understand how you feel.
That doesn't mean I won't be making any changes to my life, though. As an example, I'm now thinking about taking on some small odd jobs. It's just like Idrisi said. I also want to catch up to my father and become a character in his play. Even if the ending of the story may be childish and ridiculous, it won't really matter.
Isn't that neat, though? Oh, you'll be a whole new kind of mercenary, one that's not out for Mora. Why don't we go for a change of scenery once we finish eating? What about stopping by the Grand Bazaar again?
Right. You said you wanted to get a rug for your family.
We'll come along too.
It's always more fun when everyone's together.
I can't thank you enough for taking care of me this entire time.
Hey, Ethan, do you think she's a cat or a horse? Yeah, makes me laugh every time too. Always a good talk with Ethan.
Oh, this rug here is quite something. The craftsmanship is exquisite, and the fabric is also of high quality.
Ah, here you are. Finally, I found you.
Hey! Aren't you that mercenary who bit his tongue? You can still talk?
Barely.
Wait, are you here to take revenge on us?
What are you talking about? Do I look like I could take you all in a fight? I just came here to give you something. I'll be on my way to give myself up to the Core after this. Once I woke up, I hurried to the Khan al-Ahmar's camp, hoping to alert them to your presence. But when I got there, I found no one except the members who were still too injured to move.
Also, props to the voice actor for actually biting off his tongue.
Ah, so you probably got there after us.
Yeah, they told me that they had exacted their revenge, and everyone had turned themselves in to the authorities. Even that last camp was not going to last for much longer. I had joined the cause to repay an old favor from Kusela. Now that everyone's already turned themselves in, I might as well do the same. One of the injured members gave this box to me, and told me that it contained some of the old man's last possessions. Everything left in the camp will get confiscated, so I figured I should get this to you before the Corps could get their hands on it.
Thank you.
No worries. We are all just living our own truths. There's no need to comment or judge anyone for it.
So this box contains everything that Dehya's father left behind. Huh. It feels lighter than expected.
Well, back in the day, the first thing he did with any Mora was spend it on things like drinks and meat. But let's see what's inside. What's this? It's just a bunch of junk. Ugh, it kinda stinks.
Perhaps it's just been left unopened for too long.
A handwritten copy of a storybook. The paper's already yellowed, and it looks like it's about to fall apart. It was against the Academia's rules to possess books for personal use. If he was going to break that rule, he could have at least copied something useful.
That probably means this was really important to him.
And here are a few bags of children's snacks. The packaging's completely deteriorated. Maybe that's where the smell was coming from.
Did he get those for you?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Even when I was a child, I was never a fan of these kinds of snacks. He'd always say that he got them for me, but in the end, he always ate more than I ever did. Who even leaves snacks in a box like this anyway? Isn't that just common sense? Forget it. Let me see what else is in here. A razor, some buttons, some round iron tiles, a wooden toy puppet, a wool scarf, which from the looks of it probably belonged to a woman, and a hair clip? Why are these things here?
Mom. Probably.
I'm suddenly feeling a little scared.
I'm sorry, my lady, but this is just the kind of man he was. He probably saw this box as some kind of personal trash heap and dumped any and everything in there. 2 empty liquor bottles. Tell me, you guys, are these the kinds of things that a normal person would leave behind?
Probably not. What an interesting man.
Huh? There's something in the bottle!
Oh, you're right. All right, I got it out. It seems to be a piece of paper with some writing on it. The bottom part's all damaged from moisture, though. Let's hope the writing didn't smudge. I was suddenly seized with an urge to write a letter after finishing this bottle. I just folded it up and left it in the bottle, though. If I end up forgetting about it, it won't really matter. To Dehya. It's a letter for me?
You don't need to read it out loud.
It's all right. I'll just read it out. If he went to the trouble of writing a letter, there must have been some important things that he wanted to say. Or at least record down.
My condition's becoming worse and worse. Can't even walk without a cane anymore, much less go out and have fun. Guess I don't have many days left. If you're reading this letter, then I suppose I'm already long gone. You were adorable as a baby. Everyone loved you. And regardless of whether you were crying or laughing, everyone enjoyed having you in the group. But once you grew a bit older, you were no longer nearly as happy or cute. It's probably Idrisi's fault. He was never up to any good.
Can you believe this guy? He can point the finger at himself.
Anyway, back to the point. To summarize, I'm writing this so you would know not to feel sad for me, even if you end up finding out the truth. The reason being that I was never your father to begin with.
Wait, what?
Surely, he must be joking, right?
I don't know.
I was quite formidable when I was young, and 100 times cooler than some so-called flame main. Really felt like the whole world was under my feet. With just a teeny tiny bit of effort, I felt I could rule over the entire desert. But as fate would have it, I went out into the desert for a drink one day and discovered a baby in the sands. It was you. You were just lying there, small and helpless. You were so tiny that if the wind blew for just a little while longer, you would have been buried forever. But your cries were so loud they made my head hurt. Now that I think of it, you really were a bundle of energy.
Sounds like he's serious.
I told Idrisi and the others that I had slipped up with a woman while out and about. None of them even doubted me. I'm sorry that I had to lie to them for so long, but I really had no other choice. I was their most esteemed leader, after all. It's not like I could just tell them that I suddenly wanted to play at being a father. At this rate, I'll puke up all the liquor I just drank from this bottle. Anyway, Dehya, you possess the kind of freedom and kindness that we could only dream of. As far as how you should live your life, that'll be up to you to decide.
That's the end of the letter. In the end, he was still thinking of me as a little child.
But isn't that also a good thing?
I suppose, or I would have suffocated under the sand a long time ago.
He was a good father to you. The fact that he wasn't a blood relative doesn't change that.
Yeah. It's just a pity that we had to learn the truth of everything like this.
Do you already have some ideas about the decision that he wanted you to make?
I do. If he first found me alone in the sands, then I want to try my hand at finding the person who abandoned me. I just have one wish. To tell them a story. That there once existed a childish and foolish jerk with a heart of gold. And that only under his care was I able to grow and mature into the person I am today.
If you end up finding any leads, can you share them with us? We go on adventures all the time. Maybe we'll be able to find some information for you.
Sure, I appreciate it. I wasn't expecting you to be so enthusiastic.
I also don't want to see his efforts go to waste.
I'll help too.
Thank you. All of you. Thank you so much. My life has certainly had its twists and turns, but I've always considered myself lucky. Because no matter where I've gone, I've always been surrounded by incredible kindness.
Act 1 complete. And I feel out of all the story quests we've done, this one might be the most obvious about where an Act 2 could be going. But who knows if we'll ever get any Act 2s. I think we've only gotten them for Archon so far. The Dendro Archon? I don't remember if Venti ever got a second act. I think it has only been all the Archons after him. But anyways, that was our main attraction for today. Let's move on to the next. Whether or not Dunyasad's father is also Dehya's is something we will have to find out far in the future. But now, old friends, new game. You and Paimon meet two old friends at Port Ormos. They seem to be preparing for a game of some sort.
How did I do that?
This is one of two events that are currently ongoing, and it's an event that only started today. So there probably isn't going to be much to do. But I want to see if it is anything worth showing off, if it does decide to be a longer endeavor.
The night is cold.
Whoa. Look, Leon. There's a new stall over there. Let's go take a look at it, shall we? Balfour, Golden Comet subordinate, and Hania, beast tamer. Golden Comet and Silver Companion. We meet again. As spiritless as ever, I see. You look quite spry yourself. Hania, and Balfour too. Fancy running into both of you here. Well, back to the point then. What are the two of you doing here? If Paimon still remembers correctly, this was where we could get those floral jellies. Ah, our two great heroes. Your voices alone swell my confidence greatly. Well then I shall proceed to give my report on the results of our work. Previously the two of you declared that the Niluptala Cup Beast Tamers Tournament should be suspended for a time while the Academia improves the design of the Wisdom Orb. I believe the two of you are still waiting for notice concerning that. Yeah, that's right. Layla, Sino, or the researchers responsible should inform us if there's any progress, right? Not that you'd understand that technical jargon much. Well, that's kinda how it is. We wouldn't be much help. We would probably hinder them, really. Ah, how meticulous. How forbearing of you. I, for one, practically brim over with excitement when I consider the grand scenes from the previous tournament. So I attempted to ask some of the related Academia staff recently to get some details. At present, improvements to the Wisdom Orb are still being put through the theoretical stages. In other words, any practical production will take some time yet. However, the once heated discussions around the first iteration of the event are decreasing by the day. The tournament itself is being forgotten, even if slowly. We cannot allow the influence of the previous event to be wasted. As such, I've teamed up with Miss Hania here to organize a thematic event. What does thematic event mean exactly? Is that what these fungus-shaped pieces on the table are for? That's right. Mr. Balfour has been looking for sponsors as part of organizing the next tournament, and he has even sought to learn some marketing skills from Leo. While doing that, he encountered a certain game known as Theater Mechanicus. Subsequently, he bought the Sumeru franchising rights for that game and put together an all-new game with me as a consultant. Fungus chess. Call it Fungus Mechanicus. Fungus Mechanicus, huh? Let Paimon guess. So are we gonna take command of various rooms to duke it out with some machines? Aha! You're indeed insightful, Silver Companion. Got it at one. It is my belief that this game is easy to understand and promote, and has great potential that is worth exploring. We can successfully market it as a spin-off of the Beast Tamer tournament. We can allow the latter to stick in people's minds in the long term. That way, the next tournament we hold will attract a larger audience and a larger pool of contestants. Of course, this can only go ahead with your permission. After all, you have the final say on how the tournament will be organized. You've really worked hard on this, haven't you? Well, neither Li Huan nor Paimon really know all that much about doing business, but Paimon thinks that you've got a good point here, Walfor. You and Tanya have been working on this together, and Paimon believes in the two of you, so go right ahead. We haven't played the game yet, but Paimon bets that loads of people will love it. Wonderful! Since the two of you have agreed, I can go ahead and promote Fungus Mechanicus. The game is in its testing stages at the moment, so we still need to invite people to play test it and collect their feedback, so that we can make further improvements. And I'm sure that you, who surely encountered all manner of popular games throughout Teyvat, will come up with the best suggestions of them all. Let's do it, Li Huan. This is one of your strongest points after all. Why do I get the feeling that you are commanding me to? Alright, Golden Comet's about to strike. But before that, Paimon's got a question for you, honey. Do you mean to ask about Bongo Head and the others? That's right. Paimon misses our shroom buddies. How are they doing? Don't you worry, they're doing great. And living carefree as can be too. Twirly Whirly and Blizzara are currently staying at my temporary residence in northern Port Ormuz. One of the previous contestants is taking care of them. Bongohead and Kindlejoy are nearby. If you'd like, Silver Companion, you can go play with them. Nearby, you say? Well then, Li Huan, Paimon will go look for Bongohead while you playtest later, alright? Off you go, off you go. Bye, Mon. Well then, let's not lose any time. Come, Golden Comet. The early test build of Fungus Mechanicus is ready for you. Li Huan, the best playtester in Teyvat. Ordered trial, not yet attempted. The most basic challenge in Fungus Mechanicus. Learn the fundamentals of this game through a clear and simple match. Defeat all Mechanici. Abilities and Mechanici. And mushrooms. Oh my. This stage seems to contain Mechanici that cannot withstand the vaporize reaction. Attacking with Hydro and Pyro should do the trick. Well, that is what we have. Let's see how this goes. During Fungus Mechanicus, Beast Tamers must direct their little fungi to defeat all the Mechanici. Your little fungi will automatically choose the nearest Mechanicus and attack it. You can use the white indicator lines to track the current target each little fungus has selected. At the same time, the opposing Mechanici will each target the little fungus closest to it. intention that can be seen via red indicator lines. I see. Click on the avatar of the little fungi, use the number keys, or directly click on the little fungi on the field to switch between fungi you control. Click any spot on the field or an opposing Mechanicus to direct your little fungus to move to that spot or to start attacking that Mechanicus. Use Marvelous Gels to instruct the little fungus to unleash powerful skills. You will regain Marvelous Gels over time. Additionally, you can use Laudatory Protections on the field to obtain additional Marvelous Gels. In-depth gameplay. Certain skill must have a target selected before they can be used. Well, let's see how well this goes. Click on the avatar or directly click on little fungus on the field to switch between fungi. Click on the opposing Mechanicus to instruct the fungus to attack it. Sufficient Marvelous Gels collected. Click the button to release the skill. Certain skills require a target. Click on a Mechanicus to select as a mechanic. Select a skills target. Boom. How challenging. How was it, Golden Comet? How did your first taste of Fungus Mechanicus gameplay go? Judging by your expression, I suppose you haven't come to a conclusion yet. I'll need to conduct further testing. That is true. With this little test content, it is indeed rather difficult to judge the strengths and flaws of Fungus Mechanicus. Don't worry, Miss Hania and I will be here for a while. We'll have one new Mechanicus stage for you every day. 7 in total. Come over whenever you have the time. You'll get the opportunity to test those stages. Although you are the overseer in these matters, this game was something that Miss Hania and I came up with of our own accord. So this is an expenditure of time that lies outside your plans. As such, a fee will be provided to you for your services rendered. Well, I won't say no to that. Very straightforward, I like it. I applied for the 2 fungi to be furnished with sufficient residence privileges, so they'll be here in Port Ormus throughout Fungus Mechanicus' testing phase. Your silver companion can spend more time with Bongo Head too. Good for Paimon. Yes, you should go see Bongo Head as well. It misses you, you know. Bring this with you. You can feed Bongo Head and Kindlejoy with it. It's their favorite. Hania's gift of marvelous jellies. An exquisite gift offered by Hania. It contains marvelous jellies much loved by the fungi, and the jellies themselves come in many unique flavors that can be fed to the fungi based on their individual preferences. The marvelous jellies are a refined version of the floral jellies that preceded them, and retain their crystalline translucence and springy texture, sans the dangerous ingredients, thus making them the ideal feed for fungi. That said, one should probably take care that the children don't eat it by mistake when storing it at home. Children sure like to eat everything that gets close to them. Fungi! Come on, Bongo Head. Let's play a clapping game. Come on, Kindlejoy. Let's dance with Bongo Head. We've gotten pretty familiar with Kindlejoy, but we still can't quite communicate as well as we did with Bongo Head. You're a really happy bean, eh, Paimon? You're here, Lihon. How are things going with the Fungus Mechanicus trials? The test period will still be on for a while yet. We can play with them every day before it concludes. Oh, so Honey and our shroom buddies will be here for a while, huh? That's great. Paimon was planning to ask you to stay here for a day more so that we can spend more quality time with the fungi. But it looks like we can hit 2 birds with 1 stone, testing Fungus Mechanicus and playing with our shroom buddies at the same time. You have a good carefree time with Paimon and the fungi. And that was great. Paimon's worries have all flown away. Well, Bongohead, Kindlejoy, see you tomorrow. So, nothing but a tutorial today. No, there's one more stage we can do, at least. Flame of Samadhi! A fiery stage that puts both the beast tamer and the little fungi to the test. Quickly subdue the blazing fire and eliminate all threats. Mechanical's Flame of Puncher can launch large fireballs to deal AoE power damage to your little fungi. Engage them with caution. There is gameplay happening. No, shields. I'm good at those. Very challenging. I don't think these are worth showing off necessarily. I mean, they're fun, but I don't know what to talk about them. Hey there, Bongohead, Kindlejoy. We're here to play with you. Shall we do together with our shroom buddies, Lihon? Let's feed them, shall we? Sure. We had so much fun last time that we didn't notice the many marvelous jelly flavors available. Let's pay a bit more attention to the ones the shrooms prefer, shall we? Use Valberry flavored jellies. Jelly spin! Oh, so Bungo Head likes the Valberry flavored ones, huh? Maybe we can squeeze lots of Valberry juice and let Bungo Head soak in them next time. On the other hand, it seems that Kindlejoy isn't that keen. Maybe it doesn't like sweet stuff. That sure fits its personality. What shall we do together with our shroom buddies, Li Huan? Crab roe! Is this flavor really a thing? Honey, I sure get some interesting ideas. Huh, looks like Bungo Head doesn't mind the flavor of crab roe at all. Kindlejoy seems pleased too. Looks like crab roe is the happy medium. It's kinda time consuming to make crab roe, but it's a small sacrifice to make for our buddies, eh? Let's make some for them later. Yes, feed them crabs! Once we know how to make marvelous jellies, we can whip up a great feast for them. Mint flavored. Hey, looks like Bungo Head loves minty fresh flavors. Do you think it will have tons of fun in a mint field? But it looks like Kindlejoy is not loving the cool flavors too much. What shall we do? Let's make some gestures at them, shall we? That's true. It seems some people can use simple hand gestures to make animals understand what they mean. Let's give it a go. With our bond with our fungi friends, we should have no problem. Give your fungi friends a thumb up. Right, Paimon will do it too. Thumbs up for good old Bungo Head and the handsome Kindlejoy. That's also a nice gesture. Looks like they're both mighty pleased. Let's give them more encouragement in the future. Waggle your index finger around in a circle. You ask them to turn around. Isn't that a bit complicated? Thankfully, they both have spinning animations. Look at them go, they are so smart. It's almost like they are dancing. Maybe if Paimon danced too, Bungo Head would be willing to be Paimon's dance partner. Point at Paimon with the right hand, left hand at your head. Whoa, looks like Bungo Head's coming over to let Paimon pet it. But Kindlejoy is... Wait, stop! Kindlejoy looks like it's about to jump on Paimon's head. What shall we do together? Let's use different sounds to call out to them, shall we? You mean that we should try imitating other animals and see what sort of reaction we'll get from them? I want to try that too. Meow. So you're a cat, huh? Alright, Paimon's joining in. Can we make fungus noises? Huh, they seem kinda curious. Have they never seen a cat before? Well, I guess that just means we should introduce them to some in the future and help them make some new friends. Speaking of which, would we call a cat that lives in the rainforest a forest cat? If it makes friends with a fungus, that makes it a shroom cat. Don't think that's how it works, Paimon. Roar! What kind of sound was that? Are you trying to imitate a Sumpter beast? Paimon's never heard that one before, though. Huh. Looks like they are coming over. Fungi also stick to sumpter beasts for warmth when they feel cold. Yeah! Hey, hey, that's not an animal you're imitating. You're gonna make our shroom buddies nervous. See? They've been alerted now. Don't worry, don't worry. There are no hilichurls around. Lihon's just joking. Guess this means that the shrooms can help us keep watch while we're asleep. They're pretty reliable, huh? We'll come back later and play with them. Huh? We have something else to do. Well then, let's get to it quickly. Then we can get back to and continue playing with Bongo Head and Kindlejoy. Silly fungi. Yes, that was very deep dialogue. But yes, this is Fungus Mechanicus. Look at this nice artwork. It seems I'm in for quite a few stages. Then the next thing on the list is Vibro Crystal verification. Vibro Crystal was also an event that already existed before. I'm not sure if it's just a rerun or something different. But I'm also not sure if I showed it off before. An engineer from Fontaine has arrived at the outskirts of the chasm to study the harmonic motion between gems known as vibro crystals in an effort to clear the name of his colleague, who had been accused of faking his data. Connect transmitter and receiver crystals and attempt to produce various effects that will allow you to defeat your foes with ease. You do not remember that. I also do not. A certain engineer... Oh yeah. To the chasm. I mean, I do remember the name of the event, but I do not remember what actually happens in it. He looks depressed. Look at this sad, sad man. Despite having such a nice, bright door right next to him. This just doesn't qualify as reproducible experiment at all. It's not that I don't want to help you, Patrice, but seriously, good luck to you here. There's nothing I can do here. Might as well go find something to eat. Yes, maybe some bamboo shoot soup might do. Well then, you're pretty far from any place you can get some, mister. Aye, that's true, that's true. Wait, who are you? And why are you here in this Archon-forsaken place? Suspicious. Eh? Is it really that suspicious? Yeah, where did you appear from anyway, Paimon? What are you saying? We came here together, didn't we? There's gotta be something Paimon can say in response. That's right. We're very suspicious indeed, but as some guy from Fontaine, isn't your presence here even more suspicious? Huh, is that how I appear to others? Well, you are from Fontaine. That's right. The two of us are adventurers, so it's at least kinda normal for us to be here, but you're definitely a strange sight to see. Well, that does make some sense. Well met then, Li Huan the adventurer. And I might have your name, Flying Fairy. Paimon's Paimon! Fair enough. Then I, too, shall introduce myself. I'm Anatole, an engineer from the Fontaine Research Institute. I shall be plain with you. I'm here at the behest of my superiors at the Institute to conduct some research into Liyue cuisine. Liyue cuisine is interesting, but I fear not. The Institute is an organization dedicated to the study of machines and energy, though I do wish that we would have a gourmet department. That would be a capital notion. Well, I'm getting off topic. The sum of the matter is that I have a colleague who entered the Institute at the same time as me and has been researching minerals and elemental energy. If you have been around these parts, you might have met him. His name is Patrice. Would that ring any bells? I think I sort of remember, but not really. Someone can't quite remember. Patrice. According to his research directions, he would need a large and specialized batch of minerals from Liyue, but due to some budget and test site funding issues, along with other well-publicized reasons, so he couldn't conduct the experiment then. That's right, one day he took all his remaining funds and experimental equipment and vanished. Everyone said that he had finally gotten tired of the Institute and up and left with the Mora. I must say that I always believed that he could finish his experiments, and I'd never stooped to gossiping behind his back, unlike some people who have nothing better to do but talk behind others' backs. In any case, he finally returned alive and well a while ago, and with experimental results to boot. Truly the pioneering spirit of the researcher lives within him. According to him, he went to Liyue directly and set his experiments up here, and after overcoming various unimaginable tough obstacles, finally finished his research project. But isn't that great? What does that all have to do with you, by the way? Well, it's complicated. As I said before, things played out quite unfortunately. His experiments here were, in fact, an illegal act. Not that I don't understand, though. If he had followed normal procedures, he would have been filing out application forms and official statements for half a month and then some. But of course, there was no one who could verify the experimental procedure, and the data he produced was overly detailed and complete. To quote the review document verbatim, it is almost as if it were simply spun out of thin air. Patrice insisted over and over that the data completeness was due to the invaluable aid of the local Adventurers Guild. But the people upstairs weren't going to believe that, and so according to regulations someone must reproduce the experiment to verify the data he obtained. Or rerun the event, one could say. So you mean some unlucky soul will have to come over here from Fontaine to do this experiment again? Yes, some unlucky soul. And who's that unlucky duck? Oh, who is it? I wonder. What let this be? Of course I know him. I'm your unlucky duck. Patrice is a good fellow, so I did in fact want to help him. But I only realized when I got here that, though the minerals we need are easy to find, it is basically impossible to do this experiment by oneself. Wait, but why? Patrice did his experiment by himself, so I have to do it as well. I think that was the idea, anyway. God, this organization can be blown sky high for all I care. Sky high. The Institute was once rocked by a massive explosion during a particularly catastrophic experimental failure, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, that explosion did not take the strange and redundant process and the overly complicated management system with it, and they have returned new and improved. Forget the data verification experiment. And even if I don't use the allocated funds, it will only go towards future lightening of next year's budget. I might as well go to Liyue and have a good meal. Oh, no wonder you were rambling about bamboo shoot soup earlier. But if you leave now, what about Patrice's research? If I hadn't met you, Li Huan the adventurer, and Paimon, I would already have given up by now. But could you now help me finish this experiment and get the verification I need? I can see that it is not beyond your abilities. As for your remuneration, we exclude traveling expenses. We should still have 30% of the total funds left. Well, it's not really about the Mora, is it, Leon? Well, fine. We'll do it for Patrice. I knew you'd agree. Thank you both so much. Alright then, allow me to go through the content of the experiment. We can judge from the records Patrice left for us that there exist minerals known as vibro crystals. The transmitter crystal half of the vibro crystal set has been stimulated in a certain way. It will release certain energy that will trigger resonance with the receiver crystal half. This association is referred to as harmonics. I think I'm starting to remember. It seems that these harmonics can produce a certain energy and some sort of resonance that will affect some specific targets. Anto, have you really read his notes before? It's about right anyway. These invented terms are just window dressing anyway. When it comes to experiments, only the data will never lie. In summation, you'll have to engage in combat via the experimental area. Within the experimental area, but under the effects of the vibro crystals. Can you do that for me? Well, you could have said that sooner, you know. Bihon's really strong, so it will be fine. Leave it to me. Alright, let us begin as soon as possible. Let's just... what are you doing? Sighing like that again. Bamboo shoot soup. Oh, stop dwelling on it already. During the vibro crystal verification event, you must split your characters into 2 parties for the challenge. Before you start combat, you may equip each party with a vibro crystal harmonic schema. Combine transmitter crystals and receiver crystals to obtain different combat buffs. Each transmitter crystal can only project its radiation upon 1 receiver crystal, but each receiver can receive transmissions from 3 transmitters. Using different transmitter crystals to trigger receivers will increase their effects. Check the vibro crystal harmonics description to see the extent to which these buffs may extend. I'm also getting a feeling I may have streamed the first one, or at least shown it off. As the challenge proceeds, successfully triggering the harmonics response between transmitter and receiver crystal will accrue harmonics points. When these harmonics reach a certain amount, the harmonic strength will increase, granting characters combat buffs. All party members' crit damage will be increased. However, if you do not trigger a harmonic response within a certain period of time, the harmonic strength you have gained will fade. During the challenge, you must defeat opponents, then collect Nemesis to prevent more points. May have shown it off, or may have not shown it off, but I definitely remember the event now. The experimental area is ready. Take these instruction manuals. Patrice was the one who wrote them. Let's see. Let's have combat. So much combat. Heat deflection. When a character triggers a vaporized reaction on an opponent, this will trigger a shockwave to the opponent's position that deals AoE damage. This effect can be triggered once every 4 seconds. Order Mordor. Also, we can have some friends that are not mine. Vaporize, you said. Vibro crystal connections. Click the receiver crystal to begin resonating. I remember last time this happened. I just completely randomly put these and did not care. And I feel like I shall do so. Because it's too much reading and I don't really care. and don't really think it will matter enough. Let's just do random things and see where they take us. Vaporize, you say? I do in fact have a vaporized team, so may as well use that. Actually, let's split my vaporized team in two. That sounds like even better. This team needs ice. Not ice. Needs healing. Then I guess we can fill up with those two that we do not have. Also, some spoilers on who else I trained up over the last few weeks. I managed to randomly pull Jean off the standard banner. So I finally have her. And immediately trained her up because I actually like her playstyle quite a bit. I also leveled up my Yunjin, so I have her on both of my accounts now, as well as Bennett. I think that's everyone I trained up. Yeah. Yeah, I pulled Jean from the gene pool. Also, Jean is a healer, so I didn't need Chi-Chi on that team. Oh well.
Here comes the catch. See? Wind, hear me. Higher, higher, hands on fire. Things are about to get dicey.
I saw immune, but that's just because all of these guys are immune to getting hit by water.
Quietly now. Take it easy. Rise.
Time to go.
Here comes the catch.
Enemies? Oh.
Barbados, guide us. Gotcha.
Birds! Birds are gone.
Things are about to get dicey.
Sacred name, fortune preserver.
Quietly now.
Ducks! Mushrooms!
Busted.
Time to go.
Here comes the catch.
No more catching. The second half begins. Dawn of the second half.
Allow me! Rain cutter! Here comes the fireworks! The fuse is lit! Blazing delight! Jumpy dumpy go! Yeah! Rest and rebuild! No, my sword! Let me weave you a verse. A festive reprise! Time for a light show!
I don't get to play as Yoimiya a lot, but she's actually quite a bit of fun to play for a bow user. Maybe I should pull her if she ever comes back in Gacha.
Witness the power of Gugwa. A festive reprise. Fire hazard.
Because what she does with her elemental skill is turn her regular attacks into fire attacks, which just immediately makes all of her bow attacks so much more impressive than other bow users.
Rest and rebuild. Boing, boing, boom. Blazing delight. Go Bishop down. Rain outlines your fate. Rain cutter. Hold the line. Covenant of the deep. Yeah.
I feel like that's not the best medal I could have gotten, is it? Getting a slight feeling. Yeah, But also the rewards for gold, though. Not as important as the ones for bronze, which include primal gems. In fact, it's very interesting how the rewards in Genshin events get worse the better the score is. Like, you get the best things for just participating. It's like how that triggers a swirl reaction. All party members who deal animal damage will gain crit rate for 6 seconds. I also won't show off all of these, because it's just combat. But those are some fun characters to show off. So much all the things. Always. Swirl reaction. Swirl reaction means that we need not just animal, but also someone to provide an element on the field. Actually, sorry. Actually, Bird's Lot should be a healer. Because otherwise I will be confused. Oh my, so random. I don't think I have been able to show off Farusan yet, right? I actually like her quite a bit, but she's a 4-star and I was not able to get her yet. She's another bow user.
We'll see about that.
If she uses her elemental skill, then her next charge shot will be able to create a whirlwind, explosion, implosion.
Right now, right here, right now.
Well, her ultimate creates a little friend that flies around in a triangular pattern and at every corner attacks with enemy.
Right here, right now. I'm always watching.
She's not all too special, but she's fun.
Tears of the storm.
Wretched vermin.
Emerge, right here, right now.
Cry louder.
Truth repeats its course. Too late for regrets. Emerge, right here.
Behold. You dare to gaze upon me?
Orders given, orders received. Gears of the storm. We'll see about that. Right now. Right here. Emerge.
Wretched vermin. Squall and fury.
I noticed I didn't need to bring Yai because they have decided to include slimes, which sure as hell provide enough elemental energy to swirl constantly.
How amusing.
Dare to mess with me?
Behold. You're dead. You dare to gaze upon me?
Gears of the storm. Wheel of life.
The wind rises. Cry louder. Squall and fury. Search for it.
The second half begins.
Enhance animal model.
Another
Allow
technique.
me. Take flight.
One with wind and cloud.
Absorption test. Animal test 6308. Billowing surge. Uphill battle.
Fallen leaves. Adorn my nights of wind strike.
Swirl, Mark 2. Absorption test. Rest and rebuild. Whirling snow.
Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Heavy starts arrived. Surrender! Peekaboo! Stand clear. Swirl, Mark 2. Hold the line.
Another test subject.
Covenant of the Deep.
As one with wind and cloud!
Following orders.
New punch!
My apologies.
Target practice.
Allow me. Enhanced Animal Module 75. Animal Test 6308. Absorption Test.
Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Storm!
Following orders. Feeling lucky
Embrace the
today? New clouds high. The birds call. Wind strike.
I feel like I'm having too many moments where I
Animal hypostasis and
don't get to
elation.
do
Animal
things.
Test 6308.
Which is probably bad for a timed mission like this.
Sakura swirl!
Stand clear. Rest and rebuild.
Take flight!
Wind strike. Clouds high. The birds.
Yep, no gold again. And I feel like I got very close to the gold this time. Well, decently close, I guess. Probably if I would have defeated that one enemy at the end. Feels to me like a way to show off trial characters more than anything. Yeah, it kinda is. Here we have Dehya, Yao Yao, A. Here we have Sino and Nahida and Kuki. Oh, here we have Layla. Here we have most of the characters I've been using today. And here's Al-Haytham. But also I'm playing on hard, so I could have a even higher score multiplier. Which might help or not help, depending on whether or not I can defeat enough enemies on extreme. Let's take a look at one extreme and actually read through the harmonics. Let's see if that leads to anything worthwhile. Warmth observation. After a character triggers vaporize, overload, burning, or pyro swirl reactions on an opponent, or after an opponent takes damage from a burgeon reaction, the opponent's all elemental resistance will be decreased by 60% for 6 seconds. So all kinds of fire things is what you are saying. Transmission will be triggered after a character takes damage. Transmission will be triggered after a character triggers the vaporizer. Transmission will be triggered after a character takes the field. Ah, so that's the triggers for the abilities. Gain a maximum of 1 elemental receiver. See. We don't want one though, because we don't want to take damage anyways. So it's probably best to put all of them into when I trigger reactions, because that's what I want to do the most. Oh, wait, that's not how this works. It's the other way around. These can only have one each, while these can all be... There can be multiple on these. I see. So I need to do this to actually read what each one does. Let's do it like this. So the top one is you gain a maximum of 1 elemental receiver effect when you gain stacks of this effect. Your character's elemental damage increases. You gain a maximum of 1 burst receiver effect when you gain character's elemental burst damage increases. Precision your character's crit rate is increased. So but with this, my elemental damage will be increased to the maximum. There's nothing special about crit rate or ultimate in that case. Are these the same? Yes. That's just elemental damage to the max then. Then let's have 2 pyro characters on each team and 2 people that can make reactions, I guess. Someone that can pyro constantly and someone that can pyro sometimes. Vaporize was one of the ones. Nahida actually would work. See if I do too many elements though. Also, I don't have a healer here yet. So let's just try. Try again. How things work with a little bit more planning.
Allow me.
Illusion shattered.
La la la.
There is no escape.
Fish!
Jumpy dumpy go.
Now you shall perish. Illusion shattered.
La la la.
For anyone that doesn't remember, Ace E essentially provides constant electro support for other characters, with electro slashes happening to enemies every time you hit them, or every few times you hit them.
Retribution!
Inazuma shines eternal. There is no escape.
Rest and rebuild. Jumpy dumpy go. Roll them all up.
That sure was a decent amount of points. Now can the second half keep up?
Hey, the Temple of Wisdom. Sacred name, fortune preserver, prize.
You asked for it.
Committed to memory. Sharing my knowledge. Yeah, yeah. Walk alive. Go. See? Higher, higher, dance by fire. This way, pretty.
Let's get it on.
Committed to memory.
Gloves off.
Yeah, this way, pretty little. The Temple of Wisdom.
Powerful enemies, you say?
Orders given. Orders received. Go.
You asked for it.
Everyone hold hands.
Cross over.
Don't you want to come down here?
I see everything. Make yourself at home. See?
Okay, we've reached the 2000.
Everyone hold hands.
Barely, but we reached the 2000. Maybe the lesson is I shouldn't underestimate myself and actually play on extreme and not wimp out and play on hard. But yeah, I think that's enough showing off of this event. It's just more of that. More combat. So much combat. There's always more combat. But we did find a side quest here. And I want to quickly see what that's about. Even if I just trigger it and not actually do it, I just want to see what the hell it is. Oh, this is a good one. Are you working on your riddles? Oh, Riddle Man. I remember you, Riddle Man. Traveler, you've come at the right time. I'm about to design a whole new series of riddles. I did a lot of riddles off screen at the beginning of Sumeru. They were quite the riddles. The terrain here is a little complicated. See, there's a huge root of the divine tree entering the water from one side of the harbor. On the other side is a huge lotus leaf and a lot of ships waiting to leave the harbor. Traveler, which side do you feel is better as the theme for this riddle? The lotus leaf and ships are interesting. Indeed. It could be fun in another sense if we link the two. No problem, I'll just make a riddle with this theme. Wait a minute, I'll pass this riddle in a place where it can be easily discovered. Huh? Pasted in this area. But the location in the riddle is not that far away. It might be solved right away. Haha. I'm giving that riddle solver a range to solve the riddles in. If I don't do this, then the range will be too big. Riddle me this. Okay, the riddle for this area is done. Let's go to the next place. There's another place. Chest with a riddle. A smart plant that is good at trading water droplets. That sure is a riddle.
My guiding stars.
Spoiler, Layla is not very good at making bridges across water with her ice attacks. Okay, let's set up the second riddle here. Once the riddle is solved, the final chest then can be found. I'm going to place the final treasure there. Oh. Isn't this just an ordinary little hill with an ordinary little waterfall next to it? That's right, but it will soon be anything but ordinary because of our riddles. Okay, traveler, what do you suggest for this riddle? Let me write something. Hey, you're laughing more and more. It's done. The green umbrella gazes at the pearl curtain. This riddle sounds special. Did you learn this from somewhere? Not exactly trained for it. I see. As expected of the traveler. How knowledgeable. Okay, I will put up the riddle you wrote here. Done. This little notice board should be obvious enough. Then, let's go set up the last treasure chest now. Green umbrella gazes at the pearl curtain. Mwah. This is very silly. Creating the puzzles for other people. This is the last chest. There's no need for riddles for this one. But what should I put in it? Something of practical value. Practical value? What can be of practical value? Alright, I got a recipe from someone a few days ago. Let's put it in that chest as a reward. Okay, the set of riddles is finished now. Thanks for your help, traveler. These are for you, as a reward. I was planning on discussing riddles with you in more depth, but I guess I have to return to the academia to tend to some matters first. If you discover any strange new riddles in your travels, or get stumped by one, please come to me by all means. We can discuss them in detail together, then put together new riddles for other adventurers. Ha ha ha! Farewell, traveler. I wish you safe travels. I hope that treasure hoarder named Nazam won't cause any more serious trouble. I'm not entirely sure. What we just did, but it most certainly happened. But it was definitely quick and painless. Surely he will not be back with more things in the future. Sorry, I just wanted to watch you closely.
All my goods come directly from the palace of Alcazarzarin.
Well, after ruining this moment,
How did I do that?
how did we even do that? Thanks for watching.
All my goods come directly from the palace of Alcazarzarin.
Next time on Genshin Impact, I do not know. We are done with story quests. And we will not do the cost-effective hook, because I have no idea. I think we're done with this version of the game, essentially, because I think these are the last events that are happening. And I don't feel like showing off either of them anymore. So we'll possibly be back in 10 days plus, or whenever the next version drops. Thanks for watching. See you again.